4D Monster Under the Bed Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I am going to show you a really cute design that is a monster under the bed. So it's a little bed and it looks like a little sleeping girl holding a teddy bear with the blankets and the pillow and bed frame and the whole 9 yards, and then underneath it's got a little hidden monster that you can slide out so you can see that there's a monster under the bed. And this design you can have so much fun with. You can change up the colors, you can play around with the look of your monster. There's so many opportunities to really have creative freedom with it. So I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So I'm going to begin with applying a layer of a light purple acrylic over the nail, and I'm just doing this as my background color. I would suggest anything light and not the same color that you're planning on doing for your sheets. And the fun thing with this is that you could even match like your own bedding or your child's bedding or whatever you like. Currently Melody sleeps in a Zen sack, so she doesn't really have bedding, which, you know, she's not supposed to, but I didn't really have anything to match here, so I just went with one of my favorite colors, which is a berry color. Then I encased the nail with a layer of clear acrylic over the top of that, and then I'm going to be filing the nail into shape with my e-file. So I started out with a pretty coarse bit to remove any bulk, and then I'm going to switch over to a finer bit just to smooth out the surface texture. There isn't too much sculpting on top of this nail, but I did decide to paint Goodnight at the tip just to kind of, you know, finish it off a little bit. So I'm going to be hand painting on it. So a nice smooth surface is always appreciated. So then I'm going to carve a little crevice with a narrow bit down the center of the nail under where the bed will be. So you just kind of want to create a little, like I said, a little crevice, a little, not all the way through, so don't go all the way through to the nail tip, but just create a nice little cavity there. And then on a nail form backing, I'm going to start sculpting out my monster. So for my monster, I didn't want to do the same color, obviously, as the nail or as the bedding. So I went with a little teal monster. So I started out with sort of a blob for his head. I added little like divots in for where his horns will be. And then I'm going to add his horns with yellow. Just like that, very easy, 2 little horns. Just like so. I did kind of want him to be asymmetrical, so one horn is quite a bit bigger than the other, just to kind of add to that goofy element I was going for. Then with a dotting tool, I'm going to make 2 little holes for his eyes right in the center. And if you're worried about your dotting tool sticking to the acrylic, dip it into some clear acrylic powder and that will get rid of that problem. Fill in his eye holes with white. Same thing, I want asymmetrical there. And then with a bronze or a brown acrylic, or you can use, white, whatever color you want your bed frame to be, I'm going to start sculpting the headboard and the footboard. And it is not crucial that you have a footboard for this design, but I do think it helps. So even if you don't necessarily, like if you are trying to match somebody's bedding and they don't have a footboard, I may go with it anyway, just so that it, like I said, it makes it a little easier. You could skip it, but you would still have to create some kind of a frame for the base down there. So then I'm going to do just like that, kind of make my shapes, and you can have a lot of fun with this as well. There's so many different styles and everything. You could do a white headboard and footboard. You could do like a light brown for a lighter shade of wood, or whatever you like. After you have the top portion of it made, though, you do need to make the legs. And the legs need to be a little ridiculously long, especially if you're thinking like a headboard or a footboard. They're not really all that long, but in this case, they do have to be fairly long so that your monster has space to live under there. And try to make them about the same height. If they're not quite the same height and your bed is resting at a different kind of angle, that does work, and you can always fix that later. But it's easier to get it as perfect as you can at this stage. So then the other thing you have to keep in mind is to keep your head and your footboard thinner than your nail is, so they don't like slide off the edges of the nail. So depending on how big your nails and what nail you're using, they may have to be a little more narrow. Then you're going to need to sculpt your mattress with white acrylic, same thing on top of the nail form backing. And for this, you're going to want it to be a little shorter than the nail is in length and about as wide as your head and your footboard. So you can either sketch all this out if you like. That can sometimes help, and depending on what I'm doing, I do like to sketch out what I'm doing and then set the nail form backing on top of it. But now I'm going to make my little slider mechanism that goes under the bed for my monster. So put a bead on top of a thin little piece of wire, and then have it so that the bead is resting inside that crevice you made in the nail, and then glue the ends of your little wire to the ends or beyond the nail. You can also use some clear acrylic to help set that. I used glue first just to tack it, and then the clear acrylic to more securely attach it. So then grab your little monster, put a tiny bit of glue on the back of him, and then hold him on top of the bead until the glue dries. So the reason you need to hold it there is so that you don't let it get glued to either the nail or the bead or the wire. You need it, or you want it to be glued to the bead, but you don't want the glue to go through the bead and get the bead glued down anywhere. So just be careful about it. And then glue a little handle piece of wire, which I used a thicker wire. I'm going to glue that to the underside of the monster so that I have a handle to slide him with, just like that. After you have that done, then you can go ahead and you can attach the headboard and the footboard, but you're going to want to make sure that you attach the mattress in between there so you don't just glue them down and then the mattress doesn't fit. So I'm going to start by gluing down my footboard. So I'm going to stick it right around my monster. So put the monster all the way to the bottom of the slider and then stick the headboard so it goes right up against the wire. Don't obviously glue it to the monster, but you want it to be as far down as it can be without it interfering with your monster. So glue that until it's set. You might just have to hold it there for a second. And then you're going to want to grab your mattress and stick that in there and glue that down. So just take a little bit of glue right on the end of it. First I'm going to dust it quick. There was a little bit of something on there. So then just get some glue, put that together. And as you're doing this, you're going to probably notice that it's very wobbly. It's very precarious. It's not very well made. It's not like it's, going to hold up the test of time. That's just a temporary hold, just like with the wire, how I put some glue down as a temporary hold and then I sealed it down with some acrylic. Same thing here. So I'm just going to do the glue for a moment and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to more permanently attach it with some acrylic. So then after you have your mattress in place, go ahead and glue down your headboard. And as you can see, there's a pretty nice little living arrangement under there for your monster. There's a nice gap so that he has plenty of space. So then with clear acrylic, I'm going to secure everything together. So the headboard and the footboard to the nail and the headboard to the mattress and the mattress to the footboard. Just go through. It doesn't take much clear acrylic. It just needs some to kind of fill in all the crevices. So then I'm going to take and I'm going to make my bedding. So I'm going to start out with, like I said, I used a berry color just because I like it. And I'm going to be making my pillowcase. And then I'm going to start sculpting out my little girl. So I make a little crevice or a little, I keep using that word, I don't know where that came from, but a little indent in the pillow for where her head is resting. Then I'm going to grab first a layer of white acrylic, and you guys can do whatever. I mean, you can make your little person look like whoever you like. I kind of went with myself. So after I missed sculpting her body on video, I apologize. But then cover that white with some cover pink to give it that fleshy tone. And then sculpt your little bear, or, if you're holding, when I was young, I always had stuffed, like plush cats that I had. I had different ones. I had a white one, then I had a black one, and then I had one that was like a tabby cat. And I loved all my kitties. They were my teddy bears instead of a teddy bear. But, I decided to go with the teddy bear just for sake of ease. Then with a warm gold color, I'm going to be sculpting out her hair, and I'm having it be just kind of like I said, warm gold, kind of making it like me. And then I'm going to spread that across the pillow and just kind of go down on the mattress a little bit, just like so. And for her body, I just used a light pink color so that it would go with the bedding and be a separate color from all the other colors I used. Then I'm going to add her arm coming out to match the little teddy bear, or not to match it, but to hug the little teddy bear. And most of her actual clothes and everything, that's not even going to show because you're going to add that comforter going over the top of it. But if you don't sculpt her body, it doesn't look like anybody's in the bed. So you have to sculpt the body so that when the mattress, or when the blankets lay over the top of her, they conform around her just like blankets do, and it's going to actually make it look like she's under there. So now I'm going to sculpt my square for my comforter on a nail form backing, and I'm going to just kind of press it out. It doesn't have to be a perfect square. Mine's actually more of a rectangle, and just kind of keep fixing up the edges, and just keep kind of adjusting it and patting it out so it's not super thick. So after it sets for a couple seconds, I just take my brush and I just kind of squash it just like that. Use the belly of your brush, not the tip of your brush. After it's begun to set just a little bit, go ahead and fold over one end of it so that you have, like, the blankets are just folded back some so that she's all tucked in. And then I'm going to go grab my nail again, and I'm going to pick up my blankets and I'm going to lay it over her. Do not lay them so far over on the side that has the wire handle for your monster that it's going to interfere with it. So they go all the way to the floor on one side but not on the other, which is kind of a unfortunate little detail there, but it does have to be that way. So I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be painting her. I'm going to highlight both the teddy bear and her hair with some metallic gold. And like I said before, you can definitely change this up. I mean, she can have whatever hairstyle and hair color whenever you'd like. And you can definitely make it to match yourself for your child or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a little girl. So yeah, you can have fun with this. But then I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to start doing all my outlines. So I outlined her hair and the teddy bear, and I'm going to add very minimal facial features on her. I didn't want it to be, I want it to be just kind of simple and cute. Just very, yeah, simple and cute. Just go through and outline basically everything here. Go through, add little details on the bear. There's not too much space. Basically, all you need to add on him is eyes and a nose, and then you're good. There you go, just like that. Do a little bit of shading on the blanket, a little bit on the pillow. Just keep going through and adding, and you can take this, like I said, as far as you like. I decided to do minimal, but you guys can definitely go crazy detail if that is what you're going for. And then beneath the bed, since just the way that my bed was placed on the nail, I had a gap at the tip of the nails. Like, I need to fill that. So I decided to add goodnight to it at the very tip. That wasn't actually my initial plan, but I was looking, I'm like, you know what, I need to add something here. So this is what I came up with. So I'm going to start, and I just write it, I write it, oh goodness gracious. I wrote night with black paint, and then I'm just going to add a G and an apostrophe before that. So just like so. Add your apostrophe. And then I'm going to take some teal paint, since I'm kind of trying to match my little monster, and I'm going to fill in my letters. And the font that I chose, I wanted it to be something kind of childish, not super prim and proper, kind of letters a little bit crooked here and there, nothing too crazy. Actually very simple, just whatever handwriting you like works really well for this. And just go through and fill in those letters, make them pop with a little bit of color. This is optional too. I mean, you guys can change this up however you like. Then get your monster out from under the bed and add his painting. So I added some orange stripes on his horns. Just, same thing. Have fun with this. Don't necessarily match mine. Do whatever it is that whatever you like with your monster. Give him some pupils and some eyebrows. Then apply some gel sealer over the background of the nail, which you don't see too terribly much of it. It's basically over the goodnight, and then just kind of down the sides and around a little bit on the bed. Cure that, and then apply some matte top coat over, well, I also did gel sealer on her hair, but then do matte top coat on the bed and the bed frame and on your little monster. So that is it. I hope you guys like this as much as I do. I just think it's adorable. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!